Hello, beautiful souls. Victoria Amador here from Soul Healing Tribe. And today I want to go over just really taking a deeper dive at the dreams, why we dream, what happens in those moments when we're dreaming, why, from the medical point of view, this is important. I have taken quite a lot of hours on understanding from the medical point of view what is happening to the brain when we're dreaming. So it's going to be an overview of some of the things and how we can see that in shamanism, spiritualism, occult practices, we know some of this information way beforehand. So it's almost like science is finally catching up to some of these concepts. So let me just share my screen so that you can see what I'm seeing. Okay, so this is the pineal gland. Let's start there because I think it's important for us to understand the pineal gland. We have done in this channel a couple of videos already on the crystal fluid and the pineal gland. And I referenced Dr. Mauro Zapatera because I think some of his videos on YouTube are going to be really good resource for you. So if you're interested in learning more about the crystal fluid and the pineal gland and why the back of the neck is so important and what needs to be done for the back of the neck for that energy to travel up to the brain, I think it's going to be important for you to see some of those videos that I have done before or directly start listening to Dr. Mauro Zapatera so that you can understand. But basically the crystal fluid is a fluid that goes from, it travels 3 to 4 times in a day, goes from the bottom of the root chakra, the bottom of the spine, all the way up. It comes up to the brain, it releases. If you have been meditating a lot, you may even feel and hear the crystal fluid. That's something that I have spoken about before, because when the crystal fluid is moving in the brain, the way that I feel it is that it's almost like making new pathway in the brain, and you can even feel in which side of the brain it may be stuck. So just with that information, where you feel like it gets stuck, we can actually regress you to figure out like what happens to those neurons that couldn't communicate with the other side of the brain, so that we can understand maybe when the trauma happened. Because obviously if there is no communication, that means that there is trauma impacting that side of the brain. So it goes through 3 to 4 times in a day. And when we have that crystal fluid discharge, there's going to be a lot of downloads. There's going to be ahas, revelations, that is going to help you understand things at a deeper level that you haven't been able to before. So we can move the energy intentionally with breath work or hypnosis or meditation or yoga exercises to help the energy move from the lower to the brain. So that would be pretty cool to do that if you haven't experienced that. So you can find in YouTube, meditation for moving the crystal fluid from the bottom up, and it's going to help you release and understand and allow the energy, the chakras, to move. So basically when the crystal fluid is moving up, those chakras are vibrating, but because they're vibrating and they might not be vibrating really fast to move the energy, they might get stuck in a specific chakra. So if it doesn't even take off from the chakra, from the lower chakra, it's not going to make it to the sacral. It's not going to make it, not enough is going to make it to the next one, to the next one. So you might only have little drips. But when it's really moving and you're doing a lot of the healing work and it's really moving, when that fluid goes to the brain and releases like fireworks, then you have those ahas. Normally, a lot of those ahas are going to happen when you're sleeping and you're in the REM cycle. So when you're sleeping and the crystal fluid is discharging and you have already moved so much energy, you have gone through so much, in that moment you go into a full trance, and you can take advantage of that by really allowing yourself to let go and go into that trance and experience what your spirit wants to reveal to you. So let's see if I can move on. Yeah, just a quick reference here. This is my own opinion about why I think this is happening. I think, throughout history, our ancestors knew of this, and they believe that the pineal gland was a mystery gland, which is still now is very mystical. People don't really understand what it is. Science is getting to, see some of the sneak peek, but our ancestors knew this before, whether, and that's why it's been decoded in different pictures and in statues and so on, because they knew the importance of this gland. So anyway, so when we're sleeping, there is a part of the brain that goes offline and another part that comes online. And when it goes offline, the frontal cortex, that the ones that is having the logic and the memories and so on, that may go offline. This is interesting because the amygdala comes online. So when the amygdala, which is the fear and flight response, comes online, we tend to have a lot of emotions, repressed emotions that show up in the dream state. So, but because we don't know, the brain doesn't really know, like we don't know what's going on. The emotions are showing up one way or another. The brain has to make a story to go with them. So sometimes your dreams might even look like cartoons, just like random cartoon movies or things that don't make sense or things that are not normal, because the brain is trying to make sense of them. So sometimes you might even see people, actors in a dream, or just random people that may bring the metaphor of what's going on, but you have to do very advanced dream regression work to understand what is the metaphor and how we give it a specific symbolism depending on what's happening in that moment. And we have to guide the client to do that work. It's not like the practitioner gives the client, oh, this is what it means, but the client has to come to that based on the question that we're asking the clients and a lot of other things and protocols. This is for the dreams regression technique, but I'm focusing here on why this happens. The metaphors are going to be a symbolism of something that the brain couldn't decipher before. So your spirit and your brain and your body and your soul, all of them are trying to work together, but because it has been repressed, the brain is going to put an image that sometimes doesn't really quite make sense at the beginning. So until you start going through a regression is when really things start opening up and you are doing advanced work that otherwise you wouldn't have been able to, which is why I love using the dreams and the nightmares to really do a lot of healing work, because it just becomes like, whoa, we are deep into the subconscious here, and we can take advantage of that. So another thing that I want people to know is that naturally we produce DMT. So this is natural. This is not a substance that we have to take, which I'm sure those that follow me know that even though I love sacred plant medicine, I am a solid believer that we don't need medicine because we have the medicine within us. We have the healer within us. So when we start really doing this deep work and we take those deep dives, we are going to be able to tap into the natural things that our body is already doing with our spirit and our soul. So when this DNA DMT is naturally being done in the body and we are moving the crystal fluid and all of this is happening all at the same time, that's when we can naturally do things like time travel, journeys, past life, other lives, parallel life, dimensional travel, meet the spirit teams, and so on. So there is a lot of things that are happening even with one session. This is something that can happen. You're moving the energy, the chakras are vibrating higher, faster. DMT is naturally being produced. The brain is doing this. The whole body is doing this all the time. The crystal fluid is moving 3-4 times in a day. And you have those woo. So when after you have a regression experience or even sacred plant medicine, the dreams amplify even more because your spirit is much more activated and it has now an expanded consciousness that didn't have before. So the more that you do this healing work, the more expanded your consciousness so that you can take advantage of the CS, the crystal fluid and the DMT naturally being produced within you, so that when you have those dreams, you can go into trance deeper and advance really fast. I just find all of this fascinating. Anyway, so with the technique that I use, the technique that I have come to develop and really master based on all the clients that I have seen, all the trainings that I have done, is that we know based on research that not only can we help the neurons like repair themselves in order for us to have a healthier brain. And when we have a healthier brain, we're going to be able to activate DNA potential that wasn't possible before. Because when we heal even the lower chakras, the middle chakras, the higher chakras, we are also healing the different brain hemispheres that command, that give information to those parts of the brain. So it's the whole body is going to be working in unison with your spirit and your soul, so that you can really be the person who you're supposed to be here. So I just I love all of this. So this is, like we said just a few seconds ago, DMT is naturally being produced. This is something that is confirmed. We don't have to take any medicine outside of us. Of course, it helps sometimes, especially if the person has a lot of doubts, or if they really just have to go deep to open themselves to that reality, because sometimes it is needed. But the more healing work that you do, the easier it becomes for you to allow the natural healer within you to really activate and to be working side by side with you instead of fighting with you, because sometimes you're not listening and your spirit is like, hello, listen to me. So instead of doing this, we can now come and be one. So yeah, it's like, imagine who you could be if you were 100% operating with an expanded consciousness, a healthy brain, and you are now really allowing your spirit to be the one guiding you through this process, to be the one in command of your choices, the decisions that you make. You know, I wanted to call this because I have taken a few IFS courses, and I'm not an IFS practitioner because I haven't done the practitioner course. I have done the ones that are like 20, 40 hours long and so on, just to understand what they're doing with the parts therapy. Anyway, so IFS is a pretty amazing technique. I think it's just really fascinating that what they can do. And IFS is normally just for this life. So it's very, I don't think I have found any IFS practitioner that works with past life at an advanced level, or ET removal, spirit releasement at an advanced level. I haven't found one. There is a pretty large community out there, but, and you can put it in the comments if you know of any, so people can find them. IFS therapists normally are licensed therapists that go through the IFS training to learn how to do parts therapy at a very advanced level. So parts therapy is something that I had to do, the clinical parts therapy and transpersonal parts therapy, for some of the certifications that I have. But I decided to take IFS so that I can understand their process, to see how different it was from what I was already doing. So anyways, one of the things that Richard Soares really makes it a point to teach is that in order for them to determine that this, whatever they worked on really worked, that they need 3 to 4 weeks after the session to know if it is really worked, if it really works for the client, whatever they did. So they need 3 to 4 weeks, and they don't know why. They just know the average after all these years is 3 to 4 weeks. So, and he also quotes that he knows for a fact that it is not the only modality that can do the healing work that they do, because a lot of the things that they eventually got into was understanding a little bit more of shamanism, because a lot of the clients were coming with things that they didn't quite really understand, and eventually now they're also trying to get into psychedelics work with IFS. So we'll see how that plays out. So, but one of the things that he quotes is that EMDR and other healing modalities also need 3 to 4 weeks to confirm if what the client worked on really worked, which I think is quite interesting, because we all know that in spiritism, in shamanism, and in the occult, that we need 21 days to know if this karma cycle has been closed. Did the person really understand? Did the work in the astral plane, in the spirit realm, worked in a way to move the energy to help the client? So I did a video a while ago on this, on the 21 days, and why it takes 21 days with their spirit team directing certain things, and we learn what we were supposed to learn. So it's interesting to see research proving what we already know in the occult, in spiritism, and shamanism, that it's about 21 days, because 3 weeks is 21 days, right? So when we really start diving deeper into science, is catching up to what we know already. But why this is important is because sometimes clients are in a rush. They want to rush. They want to be able to do one session a week. They want it done real quick. And we need to have patience, because a lot of the time your spirit is still moving energy, your soul is moving energy from the things that you worked on, and we have to give it a time so that we don't rush through the process, because otherwise it's like starting over again. We have to do everything in a systematic way, so that when we are done with that session, we are done with that session. And if you come back to it, it's because something else that is important is pending, because you're now ready for it. So it's a different than rushing through it just to get it done. So anyways, so the dreams, and why it's so important, is because not only in the dreams we go through the veil, we go through the gates to go to other realities, past life, future lives, communication with our spirit team, other dimensional beings, parallel life, and so on. So from the medical point of view, what they see is only the repressed emotion, but we know that we can experience infinite possibilities of things in the dream state. So only through proper regression work, we can really dive deep into what is going, why am I, you are deep in your subconscious when you're sleeping, in your subconscious hold your universe. So it holds the door to every possibility. So this is something very important, because I just want people to really start working with their dreams and really take it seriously, because when we're sleeping, we are receiving all the answers that we need. We can work at a level that we cannot from this reality. So the best way that I can see people waking up to another reality without even having to do medicine work is to work with their dreams and nightmares, especially with the dreams, because every day we sleep and every day we dream, right? So when we start meditating and understanding what's happening in the dream state, especially if you're already going through a spiritual awakening and you're working with different spirit guides, this is how we can take advantage of that, to understand what they're saying to you, to decipher those messages in a regression work is so much different than Googling it or thinking through it. You have to be in regression work to go through your subconscious to really pick up all the answers. There is no shortcuts about that. You could do it with regression work or meditation, but regression work is going to dive 10 times deeper, because the meditation, a lot of the time the person doesn't know how to get rid of these. So with regression, we take you down to the heart so that you can work and be in your subconscious to receive everything that you can think of. It's really magical work. Also in the dream state, we know that different energies, including our spirit guides, are going to be able to work with us and teach us things that they wouldn't be able to do from this reality, because normally then you will need a godparents, godmother. But in the dream state, you're working with your spirit team directly. There is no middle person, which is why I recommend people to get serious about their work in the dreams, because you don't need someone. You can work directly with your spirit team when you're already advancing and really mastering how to become lucid in your dream. You're going to receive direct communication without a middle person that has to filter through their consciousness, through their level of consciousness, because sometimes their level of consciousness is this much compared to yours. So one thing that sometimes people don't understand is that because we go through the gates, we have access to everything. They're like, how is that possible? Because at the soul level, we are timeless. There is no time. Everything is happening at the same time. So when we even go back in time and start thinking about the shamans of ancient times, they understood that the unconscious mind was really traveling through in the dreams to other spiritual realms, other spiritual physical planets too, to receive guidance from animal guides, spirit guides, ancestors, and so on. So the shamans of all time, they knew what we're now a little bit more tapping into. They knew that the dreams was the best way to understand your subconscious, to explore spiritual concepts at a level that no other way you can receive, that only with the dreams and proper meditation, you can really dive deep into your subconscious, your unconsciousness, to pick up the roots, to release shadow aspects, to activate gifts and do things that normally you wouldn't be able to do. So, and even with science now proving that the genes are holding codes that are passed down from generation to generation, imagine the unconsciousness of the traumas our ancestors went through. How you find that normally is through this type of therapy. Like you have to go through this type of therapy and do multiple sessions in order for you to release those ancestral traumas that you're going to pass down to your kids unless you work on them. There's no other way around. Like you have to work through it, because even if you're listening to this video, you have to be conscious. Your spirit is trying to tell you there is thing here from your ancestral lineage that you have to let go of, that you have to help them with, because you need to help yourself and you need to help your descendants. The traumas that are passed down, like I worked through so much ancestral trauma of being tired, taken advantage of, and being judged, and I'm still working on it, because it takes so much courage to come in here and do this. What are they going to say? What are they going to think I'm crazy? And who's going to see this? And you go through all those questions. So always something to work on. So if you want to learn more about that, I think you need to take a look at Bruce Ecker, Unlocking the Emotional Brain. I think you're going to love that book. Just talking about the neurons, how they're being repaired, and how this therapy can really help someone really just release so much just by understanding. Because when we understand, we become self-aware. So what he talks about in his books and teachings is that a person experiences and responds to situations not because of what happened in the moment, but because they keep viewing the situation through the lenses of what happened unconsciously when they were in a trauma in the past. So did that make sense to you? You might be doing the symbol like this, and I might see that as something that happened to me when I was 3 years old, because there was something very similar that reminded me of that symbol, and therefore I'm seeing it through those lenses. So you might be screaming because you need help, but when you're screaming, you are triggering me to feel like I have to protect because I was being beat. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So this is what we do in past life regression and regression, other life regression, and dream regression with the DRT. We are using those experiences to travel to another experience in order for us to release the lens so that we can feel better here now. It's amazing work. I'm going to leave it here for now, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.